And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara Podcast. Here's Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. And if you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday to you. Let me just kind of make sure there's not too much background noise. Now that my chat is working properly, let me actually do this so I can see everybody. And there we go. All right, cool. We've had a busy week. We're going to have another busy week next week. And I'm glad to see you guys all here. I hope you guys are all doing well and everything is going amazing in your life. If you want to join me, all you have to do is go to Zoom, click join a meeting, and then once you're there, you can go to in the description below actually is the room ID and the passcode, and it's case sensitive. So if you want to join me, we'd be happy to have you. Just go ahead and join up, and then once you're there, you'll get in a waiting room like this, and you'll be there with me. Let me have a little bit of background notice. And we want to say welcome to Amber Lise Legere to Bronze. And Amber's been a guest. I don't know if this is this time or last time. It's hard to really say, but she has been a guest before. And I don't remember what podcast number she is. But she's there, and she's a talented artist. So if you get a chance, check out her art, her painting. All right, so I think you guys are ready to get started. There's almost 100 of you here. And Ray Blackfeather is here. So let's bring him in. And actually, before I get started, we've had a couple people talk about the soul trap, and the other day, I guess it was yesterday, it was either yesterday, I recorded a gentleman's NDE, and he experienced the soul trap on the other side. It's the first for me, and that means most likely it's a first for you. So for some people, you may get triggered. I don't really feel like it's that triggery, but if the soul trap theory bothers you, you know, I'm just kind of warning you, but I think it's fascinating to have our first NDE feel like he was witnessing a soul trap on the other side. All right, so let's bring in Ray. See what Ray's up to. And it says, let's see, ask to start video. Hey, Ray.
Hello, folks.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
You're all dressed up today. What's going on?
I mean, this is a clue.
You're at a wedding?
Pillow over here.
Okay.
You know, a while ago, you have videos of people on, on bed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is a clue. It's about dreams.
All right.
All right. So I've been working this out for about I would say about a few months ago. I was oversleeping, what they call, when people oversleep, you oversleep like 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
People say it's supposed to be about 8 hours. 8 hours of sleep is maximum. So I woke up from it. I was like, you know what? I see this little white speck that came. If you ever noticed that people call it your spirit?
Was it like an orb?
Yeah, like an orb. When you close your eyes, sometimes you'll see this little white dot, a floater, we call it, or something, a white floater. Actually, as you go to sleep, when you go into a REM sleep, that floater actually expands,
Hmm.
and there's images beyond that floater. It's in black and white, and when our brain interprets that, it turns into color.
Hmm.
So I've been
Wow.
studying on that.
Hmm.
So everybody has that. The only way it works is that you have to oversleep, where a point where you can't, you can't sleep anymore. Close your eyes, focus on this white floater that's in front of you, and just follow it. Then all of a sudden you're gonna go right into half asleep and half awake in your dream. You could actually see yourself dreaming. It's
I
really
need to try
wild.
that. That sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. It's very interesting. It took me about a year to practice it. It takes a little practice.
Hmm.
Everyone can do it.
And then when you do that, you said you can see yourself dreaming.
Yes, definitely.
From outside of your body or what?
Uh, yes. Fairly, not all the outside, but kind of like behind your head.
Hmm. What do you think the mechanism is behind it that makes you able to do that just by looking at your floaters?
It's your third eye. It's actually your third eye.
Hmm.
When people imagine things,
Hmm.
when we all have our brain, we can imagine things.
Right.
So when you dream, it's the same way. It's this black and white floater expands. Then anything you think of, the bridge is blue, bang, it'll come up blue. The bridge is underwater, bam, it's underwater. It's that quick. That's how fast this floater works.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I tested it's for people who's not working, or they have nothing to do for the
Uh,
next few days.
Now, do you do this like just before you wake up in the morning, or if you wake up in the middle of the night, or just before you go to bed?
No, morning, through the afternoon.
Hmm.
Yeah, through the afternoon.
Do you feel like you can get out and start traveling astrally?
Um, that comes up into another discussion. I had a bad experience in Colorado where I had an out of body experience in the car
Wow.
going
Uh,
over a mountain.
you
I
were
wasn't
driving?
driving, luckily. No, I wasn't
Oh, I was gonna
driving. My
say,
friend was
whoa.
driving.
Okay.
So I do have a witness. And I just held onto the car door. I just didn't want to leave the planet.
Hmm.
I was actually being pulled out of the planet into space. As far as I got, yeah,
What was pulling you out of the planet? A
I don't know,
being?
Mike. No, I don't know. But I was frightened, so I held onto the door handle until we got back down to the mountain, and I felt bliss after that.
It's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the dream thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of control it, but it's very difficult. You have to say you're dreaming, but if you can wake up from just saying that by accident. You have to flow with it. It takes practice.
Have you ever had?
Everyone has it.
Have you
Everyone
ever?
have done it.
Have you ever had dream paralysis or sleep paralysis?
Uh, Not that I know of. No,
Hmm.
not that I know of.
Not.
It's just a thing that I was testing on. I said, this is really interesting. What is this white dot? So one night, slept through the night. Woke up in the morning. I still see that thing. I said, you know what? Let me just rest a little bit longer.
So
Close
see,
my eyes.
in the chat here, non-duality with Donna was asking, was it a force that was pulling you?
Oh, back to that Colorado trip?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. It felt like anti-gravity. I felt like I was repelled to this planet.
Like two magnets, and it just shot
No,
you out.
it shot me out. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like if the earth was spinning so fast, the gravity, you're familiar, the momentum,
Mm-hmm.
the spin will pull things out into
Mm-hmm.
space. So it'd be the same concept. That,
Oh.
that it was physical. It was very physical. Yeah, I held onto that car door
I bet.
for dear life. I really did.
And your
And my
friend
friend,
was going,
he was driving.
your
And
friend was going, Ray, what's going on with you?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's what the hell's going on? You okay? And I just kept on saying, drive. He said, you want me to pull over? Are your car sick? I was like, no, whatever you do, just keep driving. So
Hmm.
it was frightening for me
I
because I
bet.
wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that. And
Where are you based out of, Ray, again?
North Carolina.
Hmm. Western part, like Cherokee
Yes.
area?
No, no. South of Charlotte.
Okay. Are you Cherokee?
Yes, 100%.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ah,
I've
thank you.
I've been to the Cherokee area before. I think it's
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. I would love to live in that area.
yeah. You'll
It's
see balls of light in there in the woods.
I've had a handful of guests from there.
Mm.
I've had a lady from there, funny enough, that I don't know. Some of you've noticed. I'm lately putting video. Hold on. Something in the back of my throat. Lately I've been redubbing some of my old videos into Spanish and Portuguese. And so it's what they're doing is actually I have to go through the entire text of it in English and correct it because when they take it from the video, it's not perfect, and then and then they overdub the voices. It's amazing. And I've been doing NDEs, and I decided to try UFO one, and I had this woman that's from the Asheville area.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I think she was saying, she sees
Uh,
UFOs in the Asheville
yeah.
area, and I think there's I think she believes there's a UFO base there somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's common. I've seen a couple of them here where I live, right up over my house.
In Charlotte?
No, right over my house where I'm filming
Wow.
it now. Yeah, it's all over the place. It's very common.
That's
I've
amazing.
seen lightning ball. It's the size of a building.
Really?
Lightning ball. Yeah, and I've had witnesses too.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was
What
walking my dog. I saw it. Yeah.
you never told us, what are you all dressed up for today?
Oh, this is just my birthday suit. That's
Oh,
all.
it's your birthday?
No, not yet.
Oh,
It's
not yet.
everybody else. Yeah.
Well, is it coming soon? If it is, happy.
October.
Oh, in
Yeah.
October. Okay.
Yeah. It got a long way. No worries.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Ray,
Yeah.
Ray, thank you so much for coming and sharing with
Yeah.
us.
Oh, one more note.
Yeah.
One note.
Go ahead.
One more note.
Hmm?
Everybody can do this also. Every night, look up in the sky in a clear night. Winter time is the best time. Spring and fall is the best time.
Mm-hmm.
Flashes, little flashes, every 5 minutes, you'll see a flash in the sky. So
You just look straight up.
straight up, yeah. At night, lay down on the grass or something on a beautiful night and look up. You'll see flashes. No one
Hmm.
talks about it. It's in a Skinwalker Ranch. They showed it once, and there's a YouTube person who did the same thing. Said there's flashes.
Really?
Yeah, you can
Who,
definitely see that.
who was that?
I can't remember. He's an old dude. He's a astronomer,
Hmm.
and he had taken videos of the sky and
Mm-hmm.
saw flashes also, and
Mm-hmm.
he can't explain that either. So at Skinwalker Ranch,
Mm.
they even froze it. They froze it's a round little ball of light. It looked like someone's taking pictures of the planet. It literally looks just like that. A little round ball, little white. They're different sizes, different intensity, but you'll see them. And no one talks about it, but people have seen it. And I show people, it's like, oh, look up, look, just there. Boom, comes right up.
That's cool.
So yeah, I want you guys to comment about that.
All right.
How many people seen it?
Well, maybe you can get video for us.
Sure. Yeah.
That would
Okay,
be
you got a good
awesome.
camera. Yeah.
That would be, well,
Yeah.
you can maybe do it with a cell phone, no?
Yeah, the cell phone is a little grainy. You
Hmm.
don't see much. It's very small light.
Speaking of video, I recorded a video the other day with a woman, another video where she set up a security camera in her room and you see orbs flying around.
Oh, wow.
And that should be posted on Monday, I believe. So if you're into
Great.
orbs, I think you guys will
yeah.
like that one.
Yeah.
And and there's one of them, it's interesting. She was meditating and she said there's a statue like behind her up on a shelves. And she said that while she was meditating, she tried to project her consciousness to the statue. And you see like some kind of misty thing by the statue.
Wow.
So I hope you guys will like that one.
I will like that one. Definitely I'll be watching it.
Cool.
Great.
All right, Ray. Well, thank you.
Folks.
Thanks for coming and share with us. We appreciate you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.
All right, take care, Ray.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
And a big round of applause for Ray. All right, so yeah, tomorrow night will be the Soul Trap NDE. And then Monday night we talked about her spirit orbs. And, I don't know if I have the right mouse here to the right one, but I can tell you. Oh, she's also a hospice nurse. So she's a hospice nurse. She did have an NDE in the ocean when she was like, I don't know, 5, 4, something like that, 3 maybe. And an NDE as a hospice nurse. And then we talked about and we looked at her orb and her videos. And it's interesting that I think that what people use now is just using those security cameras that are infrared. And it's surprising that infrared seems to work best for orbs. And I took the video and I kind of tinted it darker a little bit so you can see the orbs kind of pop a little bit more in the video. So, and I don't really know, a lot of people watch videos either from their phone or their tablet and it's small. Like for me, I look at everything on a 20-inch monitor and it's easy to see everything once it's blown up big. Big like this. But if you're looking at, a screen like this, sometimes it's hard to see orbs. So I think that will help. But I hope you guys will enjoy that video. And so those are those 2 videos. Let me see who's coming up this week. So I can kind of get going here. All right, well, we'll get back to it. Raphael's here. See what Raphael's up to. Let's see, where is he?
Jeff, I think.
Yes.
Oh, I was.
There you are.
Already here, buddy.
There you are. What were you guys doing? Making dinner?
Yeah, I was just having snacks.
Yeah, having some snacks. What are you guys doing tonight? You going out afterwards?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I said, what do you guys, where's your better half and what are you guys doing tonight?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we're just like gonna be chilling today more than anything.
Yeah.
And then probably check out some videos and then check out one of your videos.
Which
one?
one?
Of this guy from I think he's Italian, English.
Oh yeah, half Italian, half British. Aldo.
Yeah,
Aldo
we
Privilegi.
started listening.
Yeah,
we started listening to it, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, he's good.
So,
he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
he's over there in Australia. Wait, is he from Australia?
Okay,
yeah,
Australia?
wait, no, he's in Hong Kong. That's right.
Right, Hong Kong. Yeah,
Hong
I remember
Kong.
seeing.
Yeah, for me, it's the same time zone. Whenever I record with people from like Australia and Hong Kong and that part of the world, I have to do it nighttime, and which it's the next morning, the next day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
we've already got a comment in here from Minnie Rapunzel that says proposal time.
Oh, yeah, I know. I gotta go get the ring. I mean, I did kind
I
of.
think that's
before,
why.
but
I think that's why she wants you to. Maybe that's why she likes you to come on the video because I keep pushing you to put a ring on it.
That's funny. I know. We're planning on getting married in a castle in Sweden and all this stuff. So we'll do it. We'll do it eventually at the right time.
I was telling everybody, I don't know if you caught it, that tomorrow night's is going to be a guy that on the other side, he felt like he was witnessing the soul trap during his NDE.
Oh.
So this one is, you know, a little bit intense. For some people, it may be. So we'll see what you guys think. But it was very fascinating. It's the first time someone said that. And then the next night is a woman she's using, I think they're like inexpensive little security cameras. Maybe that's the great thing. And they're all in infrared and you pick up orbs. And that was the last guest before that was using some kind of camera like that. So I need to get one of those and just keep it around the house. And maybe when I'm meditating, see what happens.
I know. You know, I was gonna say too that I'm gonna be interviewed with Alex in 2 weeks.
Alex Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's awesome.
He's your friend, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we're friendly. I guess I don't know if we would say we were friends. Hey, good to see you, because we've never hung out, just online once. I guess you could say we're friends. You're live.
Online or offline?
Yeah, you're online. You've got 171 people here.
Oh no.
171 of your closest friends are here with you.
Oh, yeah, we love all the
I wasn't expecting to meet like right away because normally it's like there's a wait list. I was like, oh, there you are.
Here I am. Here we are. That happens sometimes. Probably the regulars here will see it. I'll turn someone on. They're stepped away for a minute.
That's funny.
So what do you have to share with us tonight?
No, but you know, like I was actually, the thing is like I wanted to show you a model that we're coming up with that I don't know if you can. Do you know how to do it, Linda? To put it up on the.
Let's share the screen.
Yeah, to share the screen.
Yeah.
So she can help me really quick.
A model? You got a model sitting right next to you. What do you mean?
Yeah. I know.
And where is it in here?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not a model, but you know, we were talking about. Because I was telling Linda, you know, about how I've experienced the different dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
You put it up, or
I think so.
Can you share with him? Or?
If he allows us to share this.
Oh, sorry. Let me do that. Yeah. I had to turn it off because I don't know if you were here when people were doing crazy stuff. All right.
So I haven't finished editing the whole thing, but
let's see.
You know, at the end is like. I could show it to you right now. And that's what I want to talk about with Alex. And there actually,
let me see if we can.
Darwin 2.0. Is that it?
Yeah, that's Linda naming that.
Okay, and then you'll have to scroll, I think.
Okay.
Like here and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they can see because it's kind of small, but.
Right. Okay. Well, the idea is basically because I was, like I explained to you in your show, and I talked to Linda about this, that how, at least my understanding, my interpretation of how we evolve through our evolution in different dimensions. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of guests, that you interviewed and Alex interviewed too. And so, I mean, but at the end I was thinking, because I thought about Darwin's theory. I'm like, okay, he's talking about the evolution of how we evolved from organisms to, plants, animals to humans. So then I was thinking, you know what, like, why don't we put a model together or and then Linda called it Darwin 2.0. So that's where we're calling it Darwin 2.0, conscious evolution. And so basically, and that's something I would like to even see if Alex is interested. And I would love for you to be a part of this project. So my vision is for us to create like a documentary with Alex and with you and, whoever wants to come to this project. And but the whole idea is to sort of bring, people, interviewing people from quantum mechanics and, to talk about the simulation theory, to talk about entanglement, and then talk about, NDEs and astral projection and all this stuff. So I would love for, to create a documentary, and I would love to have people, sharing their experience and kind of like What the Bleep, or kind of like Secret, something like that. That's my vision. And that was something I was even going to say, I would tell Alex and you, and then eventually it's like, hey guys, let's create a documentary. Let's put it all together.
Do
And
one
back
thing.
to
Sorry to interrupt you, but two things. One, can you scroll that up a little bit so I can see the rest of the dimensions?
yeah. So then,
All right. And
you
two,
know,
did you catch the video I did the other day with Aaron Apke about the law of one?
I was just started watching it.
Because we went
Yeah.
through these dimensions too, but I think he only went as far as 5 or 7. So it's interesting that
He
you're
goes up
going.
to 7.
It's interesting
Yeah,
that
he
you're
goes-
going further to 11.
Yeah, I'm going to further to 11. I put it. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So the way I'm explaining everything, this is again all my personal experiences and how I've experienced it and my interpretation of the dimensions. And again, dimensions are relative. People can call it a different dimension for different, depending on the levels of frequencies and stuff. But for me, the way I experience it for myself, then I'm trying to put a model together so that we can show to the world and to the science community, to the, conscious community. But eventually that we evolve from dimension one, I'm calling it, the quantum realm, the atoms. And I've actually become all these entities, that's why I'm putting it together. And I have actually myself become an atom, and I have experienced myself as an atom, and I've that actually like 3 times I have experienced myself as an atom. And something I like to share today as well is like this last week, as I was driving again, because I mentioned to you that I was driving to work, and then I became an atom. And then when I became the atom, I was at the center of the atom, and then I saw all the symbols that are kind of like in the Matrix. So I saw all those symbols in the Matrix. They were all white, but they're all like running throughout inside the atom. So it was really fascinating to be able to see that. But anyway, so from dimension one, it's like the atom. Then dimension two, then we evolve. So that's an experience that we experience ourselves as quantum particles, and we actually become those entities. And then we evolve to dimension two, which is like the animals and the trees and organisms, cells, stuff like that. And then then I'm putting like dimension three, it's becoming a human. Being able to have the whole experience of being experiencing the light and darkness, dualism, and the suffering, and the karma and all this stuff. So that's dimension three of being a human. And then I'm putting in like dimension four. I'm labeling it just the term that I'm using here is the quantum human. And so at this level of consciousness, at dimension four, then we start becoming aware of our multidimensionality. And that's where we start becoming aware of that we are, living parallel lives in parallel universes. And then that's when you start, that's when your higher self starts becoming aware that you start being revealed that you're parallel lives. And then you realize that time and space doesn't really exist and at the fourth dimension, and this all happening simultaneously. And then so you start having access to those parallel lives. And then at the quantum realm, dimension four, I think that would be something that would be really great to talk about and focus in the documentaries, that because it's like that's where we're evolving now, from human to a multidimensional human or quantum human. And where all the terms with quantum entanglement, the whole thing with quantum entanglement is like us being connected to our multidimensionality, our other selves in those parallel lives. And then there's a lot of different things that can be talk about in the whole thing with our parallel universes or parallel lives, where we can start bringing different abilities. There was a movie that just came out, I guess, and they won the Oscars, right? Like, what's it called? Everything and Everyone All at Once. So
I haven't seen that. I haven't even heard of that.
you haven't
one.
seen it? Yeah, so I saw it the other day. It wasn't that good, but at the end, it was basically, that was the whole concept, that you bring your fractions of yourself from those parallel universes or parallel lives, abilities as well. So that's something too that I've experienced. Like, oh my God, I've been able to see some of those parallel lives. And one of the latest ones too, like that I saw was like a banker, and we mentioned that before, but I was like a banker in the 1800s, and then I saw myself buying a lot of land here in California. So I mean, there's so many different things, so many different lives, but at the end, we're starting to become more aware of our multidimensionality. So that's dimension four. And then dimension five, it's where we start evolving more into the multidimensional human. And at the multidimensional human, you start becoming, then at that point, you become one with your higher self. And that's when you become an ascended master at the dimension five. And that's when you're able to see all those parallel lives. And then you're able to go to all of them at once. And at that, and then also at that dimension five, as your multidimensional human, you can become many people throughout time and space. You can start becoming humans all over throughout human history, and then you can start exploring yourself as different beings in different planets across the universe. And that could take dozens and dozens of years, or millions of years in dimension five, from that experience of being able to experience yourself as different beings across the universe. So that's, for me, that's as far as you go into being a human, and that's you become an ascended master, and then you graduate to the next dimension, which is then is like dimension 6. And at dimension 6, for me, that's when you become a creator. At that level, you're already transcending human experience, and then that you become like a creator, and then you start creating planets and life forms and stuff. And so that's the 6th dimension for me, is when you become a creator.
Okay, it was interesting because I thought I was thinking at dimension 6 you become a planet, and I was thinking,
that's
wow,
the other thing too. So you become a planet as well.
Imagine like our planet now that we're living on was originally a being like this that's now become a planet.
Exactly. So then, yes. And so then you become a creator planet, and then you become a planet. And that's exactly why we have the model here, right? That is like from an atom all the way to becoming. That yes, you do become a planet. And I have also become a planet. So that's why I'm putting all this model. But you become a creator of planets, and then you actually take the form of those planets throughout the universe. So then you experience yourself. You create different planets, and then you become those planets. And then you create those laws or those divine, like those matrix. Like, okay, this planet, I want to have this matrix, this system that I'm going to create, where I'm going to create a humanity, and they can evolve throughout time, or I'm going to create this other species. And so then you explore yourself as a planet, as a creator of planets, and then you explore yourself as a planet in different life forms across the universe. So that's dimension 6 for me. And then once you kind of like explore yourself for millions of years, however long, then you go to the next level, dimension 7, and that's when you become a star. And I have also become myself the sun. I became the sun for a couple seconds, but then you become a sun, and then you become the creator. And then again, it's kind of like you become a creator of these entities, and then you become them as well. So at dimension 7, you start creating suns, stars, and solar systems, and then you also take the form of the sun with the solar systems. And that's at dimension 7. Then dimension 8, that's when you start becoming a creator of galaxies and throughout the universe. And then at the same time, you can become those galaxies. And then also you start understanding the fabric of the universe, how all these galaxies are communicating with each other. And so then so it's more of a very universal consciousness, a galactic consciousness that you start going into. And because I saw myself when I was a galaxy, I saw I was seeing all these other galaxies, and I was communicating with them, and they're like, kind of like they were all doing their and you were like kind of understanding their different planets and their life forms. So that's what I've experienced from my experience. And so that's at dimension 7. And then at dimension 8, then at dimension 9, then that's sort of like, that's when you become a creator again of the universe. And then later on, you actually do become the universe itself. So that's at dimension 9. And then at dimension 10, that's the multiverse. So that and then so that's when because also in my experiences, once I became the universe, and I stepped out of that, kind of went out of that, I realized that there's a cluster of a multiverse, and that is actually in those universes, then you start becoming one with all those other universes, or you start creating those multiverses, and then you actually then start becoming one with all those with the multiverse. So that's at dimension 10, and then at dimension 11, it's kind of like the source. So that's the creator of the multiverse. And again, then you become the creator of the multiverse, or then you actually become the source itself. And so that's kind of like what I'm bringing in with this model called Darwin 2.0, where we're talking about how we evolve. Like that's kind of like a model of how we evolve from an atom to all the way to a human, to a multidimensional human, to a planet, to a sun, a star, to a galaxy, to a universe, to a multiverse, to the source. And then here's if you would like to share it with everybody, then I have a little more of an explanation of the dimensions and some of the things that we could that if you want to put it up in the website. I don't know if you want to put it on the website or and then also I'm working on 2 websites, so people can also take a look at my websites.
Yeah, put your website in the links in the chat.
Yeah, so one of the websites is called decodinglifelessons.com.
Okay.
And that's that's just, I'm basically just kind of giving my services as to help you realize that like I call myself like a life review therapist. And it's just people are interested in learning more about the life reviews and all this stuff. But then at the end I'm like, that's just to put it out there. That's of who I am and my vision and then I talk a little bit about my ideas. And then the other one that I'm working on is called Supernova Talks, like an explosion of supernova.
Right.
And then talks and .com. And then in that website, what my vision with that, it was like to create like a whole kind of like TED Talks, but
cool.
But bringing the whole quantum mechanics and consciousness talks, where people and so kind of bringing that fusion, bringing together consciousness and quantum mechanics, and that again, that's like kind of like I was telling you, like creating a documentary or creating like this platform, global platform. Well, the whole world, it's able, we're going to be able to share their experiences, kind of like what you're doing on your show. But then let's take it to the next level where the whole world is going to be able to start uploading their either through people like you or podcasts or just people all over the world start sharing their experiences, and then that way we can put together the whole thing with with quantum mechanics and with consciousness talks, and then so yeah, and then so that's the idea. My idea is that what I want to do is like what I want to eventually get, try to create a team with Alex or with you and whoever's interested. Like at the end is like, let's create a documentary.
Maybe you can help us find the next Tegmark.
Oh, I know. And then then we want to be able to interview like Max Tegmark, and
let me take this back
and many
up.
of the scientists that
Do you know who he is?
Who?
Do you know who he is?
Who?
Max Tegmark.
Never heard of him. No.
He's one of the top quantum physicists. He teaches at MIT.
Wow.
And he's actually Swedish American, so
cool.
I'm being a little biased, but
Yes.
not really. But he's really cool. And
do you know him personally? Have you spoke with him?
No, we're trying to get hold of him, but it's really difficult to actually reach anybody there at MIT. So I guess we'll just have to fly in and
maybe I can get him as a guest.
Grab him in the after class or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our goal is to either bring in with this like supernova talks, or either that or also with the documentary. I mean, at the end, I want to create like a documentary, like with the team. Like hopefully you're a part of that team.
That sounds great.
With
That's
us
awesome.
and Alex and then just be able to interview quantum mechanics physicists and then people like in your show. So kind of like bringing it all together. With
that's great.
How consciousness and quantum mechanics is coming together and to help us understand ourselves as quantum beings and everything. So. But yeah, I hope that I hope we're all part of this project together, and let's just help the world with the ascension.
There you go.
It's just pretty magical, huh?
Well, guys, I've got to run. I've got someone waiting on me.
Yeah.
But it was nice seeing you again.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, you too, Jeff.
All right, y'all take care.
We'll let you know what Alex says, okay?
All right, say hello to him for me. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Jeff.
Okay.
Take care.
And a round of applause. A big round of applause. All right, let's bring people in. And see what's up with Michael today. Now, if you want to join, all you have to do is go to Zoom, click join a meeting, and then in the description below is the link and the passcode. Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you, Jeff?
Great. You're in the shadow.
Trying,
you're in the shadow today. You're dark in there.
Yeah, I wasn't really trying for that, but
you're a shadow being. So what's going on tonight, Michael?
Yeah, it feels so dark now. Hold on, let me just try to turn the light on for a second. I don't think that's going to be too helpful. But good evening, everybody. Why on earth does this look so dark? All right, sorry about that part.
That's
of it.
okay. You need a front light.
Yeah. I did move this from where I usually, when I'm here talking, I did move the lamp yesterday, and this is what I wanted to share.
Mhm.
Hopefully, this will be an expansion of what I'm about to talk about, and it'll be a blessing for people as well. I do always try to think about that. So yesterday I was on this show. I was interviewed.
Awesome.
It was called Awaken Creators on Instagram, and we did a powerful, really wonderful interview on the subject of dreams and creativity. Right? What is the relationship between these? And we talked about a lot of things. So I thought it would be fun to come on and talk a little bit about that and give an example. There's a lot of ways in which our creativity and the creativity of artists in particular, but really of all types, problem solving, information you need to know, can come from our dreams. So we talked a lot about those, even the catharsis. But the main thing, one of the big things we talked about is dreams as content, right? So the idea is that we know from testimonies that people use their dreams, and there was a movement. Did I hear it? I don't think I said this yet. There was a movement called surrealism, which most people know. Most people know that word, surreal, where artists, musicians, composers, painters, sculptors all got together and talked about their dreams and used them as an inspiration for content. There's also many stories of people who got whole compositions or whole stories in their minds through their dreams. So that's some of the stuff we're starting to talk about. We're certainly coming into contact with a greater power. That's why I think, in a way, what I talk about is such a good match with what you do. Now, I myself have more than once used dreams to create stories. I was talking with Pete earlier, and I was telling him that besides the dream interpretation and the symbol studies that I do, I also I've written stories, short stories. I've written a children's book. So I've been writing for a long time. Yeah. And I want to give you guys tonight an example of, it'll be dream interpretation, so you'll get that part of it. We'll understand the symbology. We'll understand how amazing this is, and also how we transition from that to using it for art. This is going to be an interesting one, Jeff, because this was I wrote a story about it, but it was someone else's dream. Okay. And I think I've mentioned this one, but I never went into depth. So in the dream, the dreamer, who was this young woman that I met, was in the middle of the ocean, right, being tossed to and fro by the waves. And she just, right, and then she saw an island that she wanted to go to. So she stuck her head in the water and swam as hard as she could. But when she popped back up, she was still in the same place, right? Okay, that's a good classic. Like, whoa, you wake up from that and you're like, what is that about? Now, my, listeners, what I'm talking about in my mind and heart, I have already proven. I'm going to show you that this is a language. And that's just the beginning of the mystery, that this is an energetic language. That particular person was a young woman. She was about 19 years old. She had just had a child. She was working a full-time job. She was going to school, and she was struggling, right? She was trying to get everything together, right? Like, oh, I need to get a new apartment. I need to graduate. And she was making a lot of effort. Is somebody seeing this yet? She was making a lot of effort, and yet she wasn't getting closer to her goal. Right. So what did her mind do? Her mind put her in the middle of the ocean, because what's a better symbol than being in the middle of the ocean for feeling you have no place to put your feet down, right? No place to stabilize yourself. And then seeing the island that she wanted to go to. Why was that? Because that island literally would be in the dream, and in real life, her salvation. It would be where she could go to get out of the water, right, and establish herself. And what is it when she swims? That was the effort, right? The effort that she was making. Which, by the way, I pointed out and talk about that. One of the things was she was putting her face down into the water. Right. So it wasn't like she wasn't looking where she was going. That would be an example of dream coaching. So what I did with this, Jeff, and everybody, is years later, I was so fascinated by that symbology that I was thinking of a story about writing salvation. And it's one of my favorite short stories I wrote. It's called Writing Salvation, about someone who gets saved by the process of writing, right? Like and what I used the model of her dream. Because again, you want to use symbology. This is the language of cinema and art. So I used, how do I want to explain this? Sorry. I took the feeling of her being in the ocean and I made that the starting point, right? And then, so the person was in that starting point of feeling lost, feeling unsure. And then I added this thing that the person started writing, and that the writing took them on a whole journey. Right, the writing took them to new worlds and introduced them to new people and opened up new things. And they kept writing and writing and writing. And at the end, they find themselves on the island they also had tried to go to, the island that was their salvation. That character ends up just being on the island, and writing sort of looks up, nods, and continues writing. So hopefully I'm explaining how I took the same concept where she was, right, where she was symbolizing the energy of that process of trying to get to a goal, of struggling and then not getting there, to actually doing it by art. That was one of the messages there, writing salvation, that we did the process of going from that ocean to the safety of the island by a work of art.
Let me ask you this. If somebody during a dream hugs a ghost, what does that mean?
That would mean that they are,
or somebody that's maybe a dead person, a relative.
Yeah, I mean, that would actually be, so let's address both. If it's a dead person, that typically would mean that there's missing, right? Just human missing, human longing. There's some sort of attention that's being generated towards that being, right?
What if what if the ghost like goes through you?
Then if the person went to hug the ghost and the ghost went through them, that would mean symbolically that you are trying to connect to an energy. That would strongly imply missing a person and not being satisfied. That's what I just got it. So in other words, that person would, when you go to a ghost, you go into somebody that's gone and you want them, right? Like it could be a spouse, a husband, a wife, whatever. You're having those feelings. Can you imagine? And this is all we need to do, people. Can you imagine what it would feel like if you went to hug them and then they weren't there? It would be disappointment. It would be like the bitterness of missing them. That's certainly part of what would be going on there.
Interesting.
If it was a general ghost, by the way, where I would begin in that case is I would start to think, okay, this person is seeking a relationship with the supernatural.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, right? I mean, you're going to hug a ghost.
Yeah. Well, did you rebrand yourself now as the Dream Detective? Or are you still as Creative Learning New York?
No, I actually just had a conversation about this, and I mentioned that you had mentioned it to me. So yeah, it is something I'm going to be working on towards the end, actually in the next few days, towards the end of this month, to kind of move my stuff over, because most people are starting to know me as the Dream Detective, which is good.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to brand yourself. All right, Michael. Well, thank you for coming and sharing with us this evening. If you guys want to know more about him, his YouTube channel is still Creative Learning New York, right?
Yeah, I'm Creative Learning, and I post a lot more these days on Instagram, but I'm trying to balance it out. And if people are interested, you can check out my stuff. You can check out I have a digital portfolio where I talk about dream interpretation, give examples, the whole 9 yards. So thank you again, Jeff.
Thank you, brother.
Bless you. I bless Mara. I bless everybody in this podcast. I'm very grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Michael, take care.
All right, good night.
Good night. And a big round of applause for Michael. All right, so I was going to tell you guys what's coming up next week. One of the guests I'm going to have is probably the most famous numerologist out there, Glennis McCants. She's been around for a long time, maybe 30 years, and I think she's been a regular on Coast to Coast AM, and she's just very well known. If you're into numerology and numbers, I think you'll really enjoy that one. Let me see. Unfortunately, I've got to stretch over here to my calendar. And I have another NDE to record on Monday. And then next week after that, I know I'm just kind of bumping through some of the ones you might know. A famous channeler in July, Benny Ferguson. And tentatively, I've got one of the best UFO cases ever. I have him scheduled. Chris Bledsoe, and if you're into the UFO world, you probably know of Chris's story, and I think that you'll find it to be amazing. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with Chris on that one. All right, so back to if you want to join us here live, it's very easy. All you have to do is go to Zoom, click join a meeting, and then once you're there, if you look in the description below, you will see there's the room ID. It'll ask you for that. And then it'll ask you for the passcode. And you enter that. It's real simple. And then it'll put you in line. And then all you have to do, but when you put the passcode in though, you have to make sure that what's capital is capital and what's not is not, because it is case sensitive. So that's how easy that is. Also in the description is a link to our Discord channel. And if you don't know what Discord is kind of like Facebook, but different. I set it up. I haven't even been in Discord in like forever, and I don't even know how many people are there. See it here because I restarted my computer, and I don't know if it's here, but the last time I checked, it was over 500 people. And so on Discord, you can hang out there. It's kind of like multiple chat rooms. And I apologize. I just realized I needed to create separate chat rooms. I needed to create, we talked about this last week, an NDE chat room. Someone else wanted a certain chat room for something else. Do you remember what it was? Yeah, somebody had typed it in here. If you're still here, maybe you can type it again, but it was, maybe it was a UFO. So I need to really kind of set that up better for different rooms for things you want to chat about. So if you like UFOs, you like NDEs, you like channelers or whatever, maybe I should make multiple rooms so for people to hang out. But if you're new to it, it's totally free. You just go to discord.com and you get your free profile. Oh, then we can create a dream room too. There you go. And then you set up your profile. And once you're there, you go back to this video in the description, and there's the link to join my servers. They call them servers. It's kind of like my chat rooms. And then there you go, and 500 of your friends are there ready to hang out with you. And so I think it's a great thing. And usually I would just kind of step in when somebody's getting out of line, but somebody hasn't got out of line in a long time. So I just kind of it's on the back burner for me. I don't see my video up. Oh, so we have that. I have to say that we've been working hard on our website, and as far as I know, it's supposed to be done by Monday. Finally by Monday. And I'm thinking about one of the pages I was thinking about is putting all the news, like the latest news that I talk about, maybe make a news page on our website. And if you guys have any ideas about what to put on our website, we're open to it, because we can have, we can create new stuff. Right now, it's just basically about us and what we're doing. But that's something that we can work with. All right, we've got two people here. Stella Cortez is next. And then Steve's at the golf course. So we get to see him hit some balls today. Let's help Stella. Stella.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Great. Where are you zooming from?
I'm from Mexico.
From
San Luis
Mexico.
Potosí, Mexico. Yes.
San Luis Potosí, yeah.
San Luis Potosí. Yes.
Yes, all right. Well, welcome. Weren't we chatting a little bit and I told you to come talk to us?
Yes.
All right, I'm
We
glad you
were.
made that. Okay, we were talking about the Pleiadians, right?
Yeah, we were talking about them. Yes.
All right, so do you want to start with that and tell us about what's going on with Pleiadians in your life?
Sure. Well, it's basically that I'm having a husband.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying you're married to a Pleiadian,
Yes.
but he's in another dimension?
Yes.
Okay, you're not the only one that, I have had a guest a long time ago. I forgot her name, and I'm sure she'd forgive me. It's hard to remember names with over 800 guests, but she's a PhD psychologist too, and she has a whole book out called Spirit Marriage, about being married to beings on the other side. And I'm pretty sure not only does she have a spouse in 3D realm here, but she also has another spouse in another realm. So it's interesting to find another person that has a spouse in another realm. So how did you meet this person or this being?
Well, I was cleaning my house. It was like a normal day. This was, I think, like 2 years ago. And then I had this download, like I just felt like I was connected to someone. In my belief system. It is a husband, I think, but I felt like I was connected to someone in a very deep way, but the information was very soft and it was coming along very like slowly. I don't know, it was soft.
These were
information.
downloads?
It was very, yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like, look, because weird things happen to me very often. I was like, okay, it's okay. Like I was just keeping my day normally. And then like after 2 weeks later, I woke up and then my room was like bright and like cloudy and really bright. And I felt a lot of peace. And it was strange because I felt like something happened before. Like there was a lot of movement, but I didn't really knew what it was. And so under hypnosis, I learned later that I was being visited by him, which he was a Pleiadian, this blonde, blue eyes, and that's it.
Now, have you had any contact with him consciously? I mean, at least like in dreams or while you're meditating or anything?
Yes, I wanted to know a little bit more, obviously, because I tend to question a lot of things that happen to me. And so what happened was that when I went into hypnosis, I learned that he wanted to visit me that time because he missed me. But they just exist. We have a linear time and we just live periods of time and they just exist. So for them, I just live like a little bit and he wanted to see me because I am not going to be having a body again. Supposedly I learned.
This is your last time on Earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he wanted to see me here. And he left hair. He left the hair aside my bed. I kept I kept the hair, and it was like blonde but silvery. And I wanted to test it and like check it, and obviously it disappeared. And I was like, no. And so then under meditation, I wanted to know how can this be possible? Because I was like, no, how can I meet a guy that can be Pleiadian and say yes to this person? I mean, if it's in this life, like how that can be possible. So this memory came to me under meditation, which was blocked. And so I was meeting when I was 21, which is like 18 years ago, I was in college. I saw this blonde guy and this really happened, but it was blocked. And I saw him and he was like, just a normal blonde guy. He was very well dressed, but he was like shiny and he was very noticeable to me. And I saw him about like 3 times, and then I was so interested in him. And so I approached him, and this happened to me several times. Like if someone like, I'm interested in this person in any way, I have to approach them. So I did that with him, and he said hi, just like a normal guy. But he happens to have like bright blue eyes.
So do you think that
And
was
then
him?
I that
lost
was the
you.
memory. I think that was him. I don't think he's like that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
you were
I
saying
think that was him.
You think that was him? Okay, wow. So, but you're not in communication with him regularly, are you? Sounds like you only got this information
No.
through hypnosis.
No. I communicated with him just before I sent you the email, just right before. He said to me that he was proud of me and that I should have a partner here because they're worried that I'm always alone or things like that. And that he can recognize me by my sound because we all have different frequencies, and he always recognized me. And so if I see him and I approach to him, that seems like he's been picked by me. And so he's doing that each life, apparently.
Do you think it's possible that you two were together before you came to Earth?
Obviously, yes. Yeah, that's how it works because they live longer. I mean, they don't live the linear time, they just exist a lot.
Do you think you're a Pleiadian starseed?
I don't know, I don't. I think I'm from everywhere. I don't think I have a special, I don't know how to say it, but I think I'm from everywhere.
Okay.
I haven't found like starseed from here or there.
All right. So have you ever seen a UFO while you're conscious, like while you're outside or anything like that?
There's always a UFO outside. If I go out, there's always like a star there. Yeah, and they're low. They're low.
Can you actually get video of it?
It looks like a star. I don't take a lot of videos of it because it looks like a star.
Oh, okay.
But it does like shine like this. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, what other paranormal?
It's
always there. Do you think that's him then? Always there?
No, that's not him. That's I think those are like the representative, like they represent my console. That's not him.
What other paranormal experiences have you had?
Oh, I have so many.
Have you ever well, let me ask you this. What was the first one you had in your life?
Paranormal. When I was 4 years old, I used to be completely awake. And I was little, I was just a baby. And I used to like come up to a stair to see myself in a mirror because I knew that mirrors exist just in 3D. And I wanted to see myself to exist. That's what I was doing when I was 4 years old. And then when I was 7, I was taken by the grays, low frequency grays. And they took me and they put a chip in the back of my head. Yeah. And it was like a little thing. And it was like,
is it still there?
And I felt the pressure. Excuse me?
Is it still there?
No, my higher self took it when, like, I think 3 years ago, and my hair fell. Yeah. they wanted to track me because they had DNA information from me.
Does
They do this.
When would you say was your very first ET contact? Was it with the Pleiadian or even or the one that you're saying now?
It's saying with the Grays.
With the Grays? This one, when you got chipped, this is your very first ET contact?
Yes, I think. Oh, no. I think when I was 7 years old, I was really traumatized. And because of that, two beings appeared in the room. And they were all white, and they were opening their arms. And they were just standing there, and I left my body. And I was just almost touching the energy. It was like a white, yeah, it was white energy, and I could touch it and feel very peaceful. And that happened, like, I think 3 times. No, I think more.
Do you think it's possible that you have human alien hybrid children?
I do. Yes, I do. I actually had this dream, I think like 3 years ago. I woke up like 5 years ago, but I had this dream where it's not a dream, it's memories. There's just memories. And they let you know these things because they want you to know that you have children. So I had this belly, like transparent belly. And it was a dark baby. It was beautiful, and I felt connected to him, and I think it was cute, but it was not mine also at the same time. And I don't know how many, but it's been many, and I don't have children in this life, but I think I agreed to this thing.
All right. So you just got contacted by your husband, right? Just before you wrote to me?
Yeah.
So it sounds like to me that the way he's contacting you is through downloads. That be correct?
It is like that. It is.
It is? Okay. Well, that's fascinating. So what do you think your purpose is on Earth this time, since you're going back afterwards?
I think just exist. We just have to exist and let it be. We think we have to help everyone, but I don't think so. I think we're doing well. Obviously I'm gonna do what I can to like help, but I do want to have, I think my role is just to experience and have these criteria and this how can I say, like, point of view, because source wants us to be like points of view, like source wants us to help to be richer, to be more knowledgeable. And so I have to just gather the whole information.
Do you feel like you have an emotional attachment to this being?
No, I don't. I think maybe in the future we might be reunited, but I don't think it's like here, because here we think it's like a social, emotional thing, because it's the human structure, right? The mind that we have, it has to be in a certain way, but no, I don't think so. I think it's deeper and for like a common will, I think.
All right, I just want to someone was asking in the chat what your name is, and it's Stella Cortez. Do you know his name? Do you know his name?
Yes. He is Siahar.
Ziahar?
S-E Siahar with an H.
Ziahar. Oh, interesting.
Because I asked his name and he said, I'm Siahar. And I have a guide with me, which is a lion, and his name is Reabar. and they're the same, but they're in different universes. And one of them, which is the lion, he is my guide.
Mm-hmm.
And he's with me.
Do you think that ETs are going to finally disclose themselves to us anytime soon?
Oh, it's happening now. I mean, I am one of them, and I'm pretty sure that you are, and it's happening, and it's happening to each one of us. I mean, the veil has been lifted. It's happening now.
Do you believe
we're just waiting for others to join?
Do you believe that the planet has already entered into ascension? Like
well,
we're moving into 4D.
We're always moving. I mean, ascension is a constant thing, right? But I think I would say that it is. I wouldn't say that it's a 4D, 5D. I would just say we have to agree, like having certain vibration where we are one, like simultaneously with everything, and it's happening now. I think it's gonna be 5D.
Right.
I don't think it's 4D because we already lost time. You can't even have track of time.
Mm-hmm.
We already lost time. Everything has its own rhythm. It's not, the hours are not longer, so there's no time, and that's 4D, right? So I think it's gonna be right to 5D.
All right. Well, after watching this, or after seeing you here tonight, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Do you have a YouTube channel, or are you open to that at all?
Of course, sure. Thank you. Yes.
What's the best way for people to reach you?
They can mail me to stellargetaway@yahoo.com.
What was that again? Solar Getaway?
No, Stellar, like my name, Stellar.
Oh, Stellar with 2 L's?
Stellar,
Stellar
Getaway, all together.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Stellar Getaway.
Stellar Getaway.
Yeah.
At yahoo.com.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Stella, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, and you're welcome to come back again. So I hope we see you again. And I thought there was one more question here for you real quick before we go.
Sure.
Was there one more? I may have lost it. But again, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, Stella. Thank
you so much for having me.
All right.
Thank you. I'm so thankful.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. And a big round of applause. All right, I think it was Preliminal was your name. I'm not really sure how else you can join. I mean, this is on Zoom, and I don't give out my phone number, and I don't think it would work, just kind of holding my phone and chatting with you. Zoom is real easy to do. I mean, you just go to zoom.com, you click join a meeting, and then if you look in the description below this video, I give you the room ID and the passcode. And that's all you got to do. You got to enter those things, and here you'll be with us. So I hope you can make it in. And Stephen hitting golf balls. He must have went to the club. He went to the country club. He's gone now. He's not out there hitting golf balls anymore. I'm saying that. You know, at these golf places where they go play golf, they also have like a country club. So when they're finished playing golf, they go to the bar, they have some drinks, or they go to the restaurant and hang out with all the other golfers. So maybe that's where he's at. I don't know. All right. Did I hurt my hand? I jammed kind of this thumb. I'll use this thumb as an example. This joint right here in my thumb got irritated, and it gets better, and then it gets and then it gets irritated again. And so I just got this thumb brace on Amazon, which it has these plastic bars in here. So I will just kind of limit the motion, and I'm just guilty of not wearing it all the time. But I'm hoping that if I just restrict the motion, that I'll finally let it heal itself. So I will stop re-injuring it or aggravating it so it can finally heal up. So, I mean, I'm not in pain generally, and generally it's okay. Just certain movements aggravated. But thank you so much for your concern. I really appreciate that. And Preliminal said trying to Zoom again. Okay, it shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, everybody comes all the time, and we're always here together. So maybe you can pop in. We hope you can. And if anybody else wants to pop in, you're welcome to pop in. So, and we got a busy night tonight. 261 people. That's amazing. So that's great. And what do we have? Do we have any other news that we need to share? I told you about the website. If you want to friend me on Facebook, that's the links below, and you'll see my last name is Reynolds. Mara is my beloved wife. And so that may be confusing, right? But that's who I really am, and that's who we are, the JeffMara podcast. We're one body. I don't know if we would say, though, you're my twin flame. that would mean that you and me are the same person in different bodies. But that's her, that's me, and we have the JeffMara Facebook page. That's down there. We have the JeffMara music. I finally put up one kind of meditational music. I'm going to work on more. Excuse me. Eventually. So I got to get that. I'm eventually going to work on that. What else am I got going down there? I got the JeffMara NDE clips. Just if you'd like to listen to clips of NDEs, but not the whole entire thing. You just want to hear the story. That's there for you. And what else is there? Oh yeah, I don't know if Shira's here. You guys know Shira Lazar. She messaged me. I don't think she was here last week, but she had surgery, and I think she's doing well. And I was expecting to see her tonight, but I don't see her tonight. So maybe she'll be back with us next Saturday night. And we hope she's doing well and recovering well from her surgery. Thank you, DIY Craft. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask questions. This is a good time. You've caught me at a live stream where we have some space here. Well, feel free to ask questions. Minnie Rapunzel is sober for 4 years. That is awesome. That is fantastic. And Tanya had a dream about seeing a car drive up really fast. You need to do a private, you need to let the dream detective know about that. K-tape. Yeah, I know about K-tape. That's right. That would probably work too. Thank you, Sonia. All the podcasters, isn't that you know what is so crazy is so many people are moving. I'm in San Antonio, and that's like an hour south of Austin, but so many people are moving to Austin. It's crazy, and I've had so many guests from Austin, and I think I just had one. Who was the one I just literally had another guest yesterday. I'm pretty sure that I recorded from Austin, but probably like many of my last guests are from Austin, so that's crazy. Blessings and thank you, Paranormal Experience. Let's see, look up is from Nita Swan. Unbelievable healing thing place. Yvonne Grow Train. All right. So that is with that. What else is in our I don't think there's anything else in our description that I can share on you with that. Bird is in North Texas. Somebody wants to move to San Antonio? I've got another window. Oh, Hat Pauser. Oh, she's from Dallas. You know, actually, for those of you who've never been here, which is almost everybody, the downtown San Antonio is very beautiful and actually just made the top 20 most beautiful cities in the world. And I just kind of found that in my news feed, but this downtown of the city is this river that just weaves in and out of this all over the downtown. And on every side of the river, besides tall buildings, there's restaurants and bars and all kinds of stuff. It's obviously the most beautiful city in Texas, and I think the only other city in the United States that made the most beautiful cities in the world was just San Antonio and I think New York City. I think those are the only two. Anyways, yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. And so if you ever, if you just Google San Antonio or the Riverwalk, if you just Google the Riverwalk, you'll see it, and it's amazing. Who is asking? Mosby, have you or Mara had any supernatural experiences? I've said it before. I had a dream once where it was so real. I was at a cafe with some person. This maybe Michael can analyze this. I was at a cafe with a friend and a being that I've never met before, and he was explaining to me global warming is happening because the angle of the earth that travels around the earth travels around the sun, and not in a circle but an ellipse, and the ellipse have changed by a few degrees, and that ellipse is causing global warming. I don't know, but it was like one of those dreams that was like super real, and if you had that, you know what I meant. You would know what I mean by that. And I would say probably my wife would probably have more. She dreams a lot that her dreams come true in reality. She's probably more supernatural than me. She has a lot of symbols in her dreams, and then she'll say, oh, this is going to happen today because I dreamt this. But they're not literal, you know what I mean? And so that happens. But I can't say I've not had an NDE. I'm not even sure if I had an OBE, I didn't see myself. So I can't really just confidently say, yeah, I was out of my body and I looked down and there I was. So there's not much for me to say about on that. And my wife is looking for Mika. June Zinner was in San Antonio. Yes, San Antonio has 5 military bases and all basic training for the Air Force is here. So June was here probably just like other people. Who put her out there? Don't worry, Mara won't. Don't wake her. Oh, she's not. She's right here. Mika. Maybe Mika will make an appearance today. Our dog Mika. Let's see what else is in the chat here. I would really like. Austin is amazing. Austin is different. Texas is generally a conservative state, but you have this island of a giant liberal city in the middle of Texas, which is Austin. And part of the downtown of Austin is University of Texas. So it's this really open, liberal city, and it's got it's very youthful because of the university, and it's a really great city. I love the city. And as someone has mentioned, Joe Rogan's there. I think Elon Musk is there, and so many YouTubers are moving there. I'm keeping their names private, but I know more and more people that are moving there. I'm surprised. So, have you had something about Armenia? Yes, Lisa, my wife is Armenian. So, that's what's going on. And their children, I have 2 children. Let's see. Austin is crazy expensive. Yes, the real estate's probably the most expensive in the state. And probably the cheapest in the state for a big city is Houston. Houston's a huge city, and Dallas is, and they call it the Metroplex because it's Dallas, but around the city is so many other cities, and it just connects to Fort Worth. It's just massive. Massive, massive. And it's pretty amazing to think about because I've had a lot of guests from Australia, and I'll just give you a little insight. So before my podcast, when I usually meet with the guest, I just usually hang out with all the guests for about 10 to 15 minutes, and we chit chat, and Well, we talk a lot about where they're from and what they're up to. And the surprising thing is, if I get a really high profile guest, they have no time for chit chat. They're just like, I've got to be out of here in an hour. Are you ready to start? Okay, yes, let's go. Boom. And then that's it. That's just, it's immediate. But with a lot of guests, we hang out and chit chat. And so I'm just kind of like chit-chatting with you. But I was thinking, what reminded me was the entire population of Australia is only 30 million for that whole country. And I think about it, and Texas alone is 40 million. So it's fascinating for me to think about that there's more people in this state than the entire country of Australia. And here comes Mika. What we like about Mika is, I love it that her face, well, the last time we've been getting her a haircut, they cut her too much, but I like her face all fluffy, kind of like a bear. And if you're wondering, she's a Morkie, and a Morkie is half Maltese, half Yorkie. She looks like she needs water. Do you think she's thirsty? She was outside, and it's hot out here. It's crazy hot. She was out on the balcony. Thanks for letting the guests talk. You know what's funny is when some Saturdays I've been reposting old videos because there's so many from the beginning that you guys haven't seen. And if you listen to my old videos, I used to talk a lot more in the videos, and it just by chance wound up where I stopped talking. And then people loved it, and they love it. So I just listen to the audience. And what's fascinating to think about is a lot of times I could interrupt the guests and ask a question, but as I sit and wait and listen, they end up answering my question anyways. So that gives me space to try to ask even more different or deeper questions. That makes sense. All right, Phil is here. So we'll see what's up with Phil. Dang, he couldn't get Zoom to work. Maybe next time. Let's see, where's Phil? Phil Ruiz. I wonder if I'm pronouncing that correct. Well, you know what I gotta do here. Chroma cam. All right, Phil, do you hear me? Looks like his audio's off, so we're waiting for Phil to pop in. Oh, there's Phil. I'm waiting for Phil. Let me give him the sign. Courtesy of Penny, our very own. Hope you got that. And this is amazing. Phil is tomorrow night's guest.
Yes, hi.
Hey Phil, I've been building you up for tomorrow. I'm going to release your podcast tomorrow night.
Awesome.
So I've been talking up your podcast about you are my first guest who's had an NDE that witnessed the soul trap.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The first one. That's amazing.
I've talked about the soul trap with people, but no one's actually ever had an NDE and witnessed it. These people are just speaking theoretically, but you're speaking from experience.
Yes. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was very unusual, kind of a macabre feeling,
Mm-hmm.
very.
I was saying that I was trying to give people that some people might get triggered by it. So I was trying to give a little bit of a trigger warning if that's too dark. It's not really scary. There's nothing that you said that was scary or, dark. It's just, the subject of us possibly being trapped here is not a pleasant one.
Right. No, it's A lot of people think that when you have a near-death experience, you're always supposed to go and meet your God.
Right.
Or your source or family members or see a white light. And that did not happen to me.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's possible that when the people do see family members or a religious figure, that these beings are appearing that way, either to comfort them or to convince them to come back?
Probably. I don't know when people say that they meet their family members over there. What if their family members are also in the soul trap? Would mean that they have already come back to Earth, let's say, and they're already living another life. So I don't understand who would be there to wait for you and who gets stuck in the soul trap. How do they separate?
That's a good point. And someone said here, and we touched on this a little bit, and maybe you can touch a little bit more, because someone's saying that soul trap theory applies that God is not good. And I asked you about that. How does God, let this all go on?
Right. I would say maybe it's part of the test. If this is all a test or I don't want to say a game, but it's a challenge for us. Some people say we chose this life and we were able to review it before we came, or choose who our parents would be or what womb you would go to.
A preview, really?
A preview, or maybe I've heard people tell the story where they studied their life and they were like in a library, like some kind of Akashic library, where they pulled the records and they were able to see what their life was going to be and they chose it. Or maybe they wanted to be in a certain region of the world and experience a certain culture.
Right.
As part of their eternal journey. So when you look at it that way, and if we're stuck in a soul trap, maybe we knew about that, but we need several lives to get to the point where we can bust the soul trap, so to speak, and learn about it or experience it, or at least talk about it and share it with others, so that when they go to the other side, they don't just accept where they're going and they try to seek a higher vibration or to go to another world.
And do you think it's possible that in order to get out, you have to spiritually advance to be able to get out? So this is the way that's the point of being here, is to advance to be able to then get out.
Exactly.
Why do you think some indie ears have a hellish experience where they go to a place that's scary or terrifying?
Oh, I think it depends on where you are in your life, your experiences, and your vibration level when you died, when you had the experience. Because in my case, when I had that experience, I was recently single, very much living in North Dallas, living the party scene, bought a Harley Davidson, was cruising all the bars, out after work every day I could get. I was cruising with friends and just trying to have as much fun as I could, because I got married very young. So I was trying to play catch up. So I was in a very worldly minded state when I died and drowned. And I think I've always thought maybe that's why I saw the soul trap, because I was stuck in it, so to speak, as far as being very worldly at that time in my life.
And do you think now, once you do go back, you'll be able to get out of the trap?
I believe so, because if I reject it, I have to believe there is a God. I know there is a God. So if I want to go there and I don't want to stay with them, I believe that's what a lot of the deception is about in this world, why these religions exist. And of course, we see symbols of the controlling, ruling class of the elites, and the ones who give us the religions and the banking system and the medicine. And I think part of all of that is to train your mind so that or you think where you're going, but really it's their world. They control this world and the one to come if you let them. That's in their symbolism as well.
Some of the guests believe that the soul trap is controlled by ETs.
Yeah, I would concur with that.
You would concur with that?
It has something to do with them because they're the worker bees, or I know they work in it.
Some I've talked to at least one, if not maybe two people that will believe that there's something on the moon that's the recycling center for the Earth.
Yes, yes. I think John Lear was talking about that about a decade ago. And he had some information from some government people who were doing looking glass technology and other things. And they found it's a large building, like a cube-shaped building on the moon. I don't know if it was on the dark side, I think, but it was where they bring the souls from Earth and prepare them to reincarnate into another womb, into another body, send them back down to Earth, which is interesting. You know, is it the Buddhists have the concept of riding the moon?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, a friend was telling me about that, where you ride the moon before you come to Earth, and you get off according to the cycles of the moon.
Is there since we've already recorded, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wish that you would have?
Anything that we didn't talk about?
Like, do you feel like we left something out that you wanted to talk about? Anything about your NDE?
I think what would be there to add? You know, I told the story, I came back. The unusual thing is, though, since mine was I drowned, and
right.
I measured it, and I was underwater for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
But I was able to live because my water heaters stayed on. The water was hot when I came back. I had parallel water heaters on my house. So you could run continuous hot water. That a friend of mine who's a veterinarian told me that that's the only way you were able to come back, is because your water maintained your body temperature. But after that, I never went to the doctor. Some people commented on a video I made an earlier time, and they said, what did your doctor say about that? And I thought about it, and I haven't even been to a doctor. I never went to the doctor. I just went straight back to my life. And I've thought about it as far as what happened, where I went, what I saw, how it got rid of the problems I had before I died. And I really don't know. I don't have any answers to everything. But I do know that I believe in God, as far as there actual being a God that you can see, touch, and feel as a personage, and a Lord.
You know, I never asked you this, but after your NDE, did you get any new abilities that you didn't have prior? Something that, you know, you could consider to be like psychic abilities?
You know, I didn't. I've always been telepathic and I've had a lot of abilities that way. But no, nothing specific from the NDE. No. I know a lot of people say they gained like some type of superpower, and now they can see auras or people, they can read minds or something, but not for me. I know I am telepathic, though, because I had several experiences with my mother. We used to have a mind game where you would hold cards and it would have a color on it, and then she would sit across from you and she would say yellow. And you go, yep. And then we would get about 90% of them right. And I don't know if anybody saw that game when we were younger. But I also, one time I was meditating, I was floating in my bathtub, and I was calling my girlfriend, my fiance, and she came over about 3 hours later, and she was unloading some groceries on my kitchen cabinet. And she said, she goes, hey, she goes, were you meditating again and calling me? And I said, oh yeah, I was. I'd already forgot, you know, I was out in the backyard cleaning the pool or something. And I said, that's right, I was. Did you hear me? And she goes, yeah, I was at the mall and I'm at a stoplight and I just hear you calling my name. And I said, yeah, that's what I did.
That's awesome. Besides his NDE, we also talked about your ET contact with your mom. So you guys can hear about that as well.
Yes. Yes, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be great. I hope you guys are really going to like it. And as I have been saying, I'm going to post that video tomorrow night. It's already about half edited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. By the way, did you send me a photo of you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You probably, I haven't, I'm just checking.
Okay.
Most of the time guests do, but every now and then I'll have to go back and email them and say, hey, what did you get? I didn't get a video. I mean, a picture. Send me a photo.
Yes, I did.
Perfect. Thank you.
You know, I did have other experiences, like I had a demonic attack one time when I was 18 in a basement of a home.
Mm.
I've also remote viewed on accident. I was studying the JFK assassination, and I actually went into the limo.
You know, it was, you know, and he also touches on, which I was not expecting this conversation to go there, but you did mention that Hitler survived World War II and wound up somewhere else.
Yeah, you know, when I was a missionary, I was a Mormon missionary in Argentina, in Cordoba. And I was in La Falda, which is a little town where he's claimed to have stayed in this hotel, La Falda. And I remember thinking, I was watching a YouTube video about 10 years ago, and I thought, I've been there. I was there on my mission. But I remember we went on splits. That's where you meet another missionary partnership and you trade partners, so the zone leader can go with you to interview baptizees and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to La Falda for the evening, and we took the Eichhorn grandchildren. Eichhorn was Hitler's friend that owned the hotel.
Mm.
If you know the history. And I've got on my missionary notes, you know, took Eichhorn grandchildren to Sunday school, you know, and I remember the kids telling me, you know, our grandfather was friends with Hitler and he stayed here in our hotel. And this was back in 1985. And I was like, really? Wow, that's fascinating. But I thought it was funny. And yeah, so it turns out out comes YouTube, and the people are waking up and the story comes out, and I can confirm that because I was there, and the grandchildren of Eichhorn told me, yes, he stayed there with their granddad.
I don't know if we spoke about this because I remember you popped in during I don't know if it was last week or the week before during the Saturday night, but you are or were Mormon, and I've had guests who've had NDE that felt like the Mormon church was favorable to NDEs and positive about it, but someone said that they weren't. Was that you or not?
Yeah, I haven't seen where the Mormon church favors or disfavors NDEs, but I would think that they would not, because people are going to see things that don't go along with their doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was just having a chat with one of my mother's best friends that she grew up with, and she's like, oh, I'm so glad to see you're so faithful in the Mormon church and you've grown up. And I said, well, you don't know about me lately, do you? Because, you know, I've changed. And she's like, oh no, I know it's true, don't leave. And basically the thing that got me to leave was, if anybody knows the Book of Abraham, well, one of them was baptism. Looking at the Babylonian origins of baptism and why John the Baptist was doing it, and the 3 days death and resurrection that it represents, and the winter solstice and the death of the son of the whore of Babylon and everything. So I started to question baptism. But for the Mormons, I was in Egypt, I worked there, and I was building hatcheries for chicken with a company, and they took me to the museum. We went to the Antiquities Museum on a day off, and I learned how to read through the burial records. And there's a head plate and some documents that go with these elite people. They get mummified and put in a sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the 4 canopic jars with heart, lungs, liver, and spleen. Like your heart gets measured by Mott to see if it's lighter than a feather, so you can pass on to heaven. And then Horus is the bird that takes your spirit into the afterlife. And it's all drawn up in this document that's like it's called the permit to breathe in the afterlife. And it shows where this person's going to go, and it shows the bird is Horus, and it shows the mortician with the person lying on a bleeding table, which is ornate and designed like a lion. It has a lion's head and paws, and the blood drains down the hind paws into these cups when they bleed the body for embalming. And the mortician is there. But Joseph Smith, the prophet there, he had gotten a copy of one of these parchments of this papyrus where it showed the mortician there over the bleeding table. And he said it was Abraham about to slay Isaac on an altar. And the Holy Ghost appeared, which was the bird, which is actually Horus that takes you into the afterlife. On this, it's an official document. It's like an obituary you would read in a newspaper in Egypt. This was the document that the dead person took with them to prove who they were, and so Horus would take them into the afterlife. But Joseph had said that it was the Holy Ghost telling Abraham not to slay Isaac. And it was, and I was looking at that, and I was at home reading my it was called the Book of Abraham in the Mormon Church. And I was reading after church one day, and I turned the page, and I'd already been to Egypt, and I'm in Illinois at home, and I read that, and I thought, oh no, that's not Abraham. That's a permit to breathe, and that's not the Holy Ghost, that's Horus. And I knew how to read the design of the drawing better than Abraham did, or better than Joseph Smith did, you know, when he said he was translating it. So that just blew me out of the water right there. I just thought, this is a bunch of hokey pokey.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that I'm definitely not saying Mormonism is a cult. I'm just going here because I had a guest this morning that she was raised in a doomsday cult. And it's something that I don't usually do, but when she got out, she started having all these spiritually transformative experiences. It was like being freed when she got out of being raised in this cult in Africa. And anyways, we were talking about the fear of being able to leave, you know, like your religion or a cult. Did you have any fear when you left? Was it difficult to leave Mormonism? Were you afraid that you were going to go to hell or anything like that?
I knew that my spirit was intact and my beliefs were based on truth. So I wasn't afraid of anything, you know, like from God or that I was going to hell or anything like that. It was only difficult socially because when you're raised in it, you like when you move to a new city. When I graduated college and we moved to New Jersey, I worked for a level 4 vaccine lab where we made vaccines. And you just, as soon as you move there, you contact the church and you've got people that help you move in. They get set up. They tell you where to get your groceries, where the butcher is, where the
so you got an instant society.
Yeah, they help you go into society and blend right in. And every Sunday you see them and you've got friends and you've got people that visit you. And when you tell them that you're out, they have little meetings and they get together and they plan how they're going to bring you in. So they're going to visit you more and kind of pester you until you get the signal across that you're not interested. And that's the hard part.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I think she kind of commented the same thing, that when you're out, kind of you lose that community.
You do.
Yeah.
And I've thought about even going back to church, just it would be hypocritical, I think, as far as beliefs, but just to meet people in Austin.
Yeah.
Since I moved here. And just to kind of get a base of people and friends, because it's a fast way to meet a lot of people.
Right. It's so funny. I was just chit-chatting with everybody here, and I was saying I've had so many guests from Austin, it's amazing. And here we go. You're from Austin.
Right.
It's crazy. Well, Phil, I'm sorry, but I need to run. I've got 4 people waiting on me, but thanks for popping in, and Phil's story is going to be tomorrow night, so I hope you guys all watch it. I think you're really going to like it. And Phil, thanks again for coming and visiting.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having me on again. Bye-bye.
All right, you take care.
Take care.
And I do that, and I say, give Phil a big round of applause. Cake is here, and Leslie's here, and Vanessa is here. So, okay. So Stephen won his golf game. All right. We'll have to talk about his golf game. Stephen, if you're listening, you weren't here earlier, and I was thinking maybe you were in the clubhouse.
Hi.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, how are you guys? How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Okay, here. Now you can see
There
me?
you are. Yeah, we can see you. What's going on this week?
Hi, how are you? It's just that I wanted to join because I became aware that 2 weeks back, you made me a question when I joined last time and I didn't answer it.
I don't even remember the question. What was it?
You just asked me to give if I had some tips that I could give you guys about how to deal with those built-in emotions that we're not aware of and to become aware of them.
All right, so you're saying that you have tips for us to deal with our suppressed emotions?
Exactly, your suppressed emotions.
All right, that's great. So what are those tips?
Well, those tips, and I meant to, the first one we can do, these are simple stuff that I do for myself and the people I help here. It's in the morning, like for example, try to when we wake up, the first thing, just answer with honesty. How do you feel? How do you feel?
Yeah.
That day. After I give thanks in the morning and I meditate and everything, but I do ask myself, how do I feel today? I try to, and I write that down as honest as I can.
Journal?
Yeah, I journal. It's good to journal because yes, because it is the way for us to go back and see those energy works in patterns. Okay, if we don't journal, we cannot be aware of the patterns. Okay, it is easier for us to identify them when we jot them down.
Makes sense.
So that's a very simple thing, but then I would suggest as a second and more, in-depth is to practice, like for example, do a body scan. I tell people to do a body scan for a whole week. Try with your eyes closed, try to take like 5 minutes during the day and scan your body for sensations of any kind, heat, itchiness, whatever you feel. It gets you in touch with start understanding how the body communicates with you through sensations and emotions, and do that for a week and write and journal it, right? And journal it down. And then when you do that for a week, the second week you try to match that sensation with an emotion. Like for example, if your body is sweating, right? Then you say, well, that is anxiety, right? I feel anxious. So, and you write that down.
What emotion do you think people suppress the most?
Oh, well, it is very hard because each one of us we are systems in our own, with our own unique makeup, okay?
Right.
And our own energetic formula. And so each one of us, depending on those things, those lessons that our soul chose to learn, to come and learn, and it's gonna vary because experiences, and I tell this all the time to people, experiences are the same, but they are experienced. They're called experienced because they are felt in a different way for each one of us. We each have a different set of values that we give to those experiences. Like for example, being a parent, right? Is not experienced, although it is the same experience for everybody. Being a parent, it is experienced and felt in a vast way, the very different types of way for each one of us. So this is why in near-death experiences, although they hold similarities within them, are experienced in very different manner. They have hues and special details to each one of us when we go through them. Okay,
right?
Because each one of us is gonna have different type of energies that we've hoarded, that we've kept suppressed inside. And it is by free will that we decide if we want or not to face those emotions, okay, those vibrations. And it is very particular to everybody, right? But fear is the emotion that is most in the base of everything we do. It's fear that's there.
Yeah.
Holding us back all the time.
I would say all
the time.
All fears stem from, well, I would add that all stems from what I've heard from the guest, all fears originate from the fear of death.
Exactly, up there, because there's nothing more, although, as I say, nothing more mysterious, nothing more mystical, nothing more esoteric, nothing more mysterious than the atom.
Yeah.
The atom, which is our building block, we do not see. And since we do not see, and everything stems from there, that's why it is so important to understand and study about it, study the behavior of energy. Because when we have fear, I think anything, it is lack of knowledge, lack of enlightenment. When you enlighten yourself, when you learn about something or get informed about something, then fear subsides. So it is good for us to be curious enough to start, getting involved in the material that composes everything there is.
Yes.
But basically, try to match those sensations for a week then with an emotion, and then write that down. The third week, you're going to start doing both emotions and sensations, and you're going to start looking at the patterns that you have. You're going to start seeing patterns that have built on, okay? And those are going to be matched to whatever it is that those emotions that are suppressed. You're going to see which emotions your body is trying to communicate to you and that you are suppressing. And then ask yourself for the fourth week, ask yourself, why am I feeling anxious? For example, if you're sweating or you feel a lot of butterflies in your stomach, why, right? And again, journal it. And when we start learning the language of how the body is trying to communicate with us, and we become more aware of our emotions, then all these things can be dealt with, right? With inner child work, or shadow work.
Yeah. Or working on your inner dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then we're gonna see that when we start opening up like that to the language of energy because okay, we are energy, we are spirits having a human experience, but we are here. And we need to anchor all our spirituality, because we are here. We are manifested right now here. And we need to bring that down in a way that we can use it for our own benefit and the benefit of everybody around us. So, and the best way is that when we do this, we start working on ourselves and start speaking and aligning with the language of energy. You're going to see that all the doors are going to start opening up, because before you were speaking a language that the universe was not understanding.
Vanessa, thank you for. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to run. I'm even in overtime already, and I gotta get
I
other
know.
people to get going. But I still got other people waiting. But thank you for coming and sharing that with us. And
Thank you.
I'm trying to see if I have your website memorized, and I don't for some reason.
It's YouTube page and Facebook page.
YouTube and Facebook. What is it?
Yes.
I know you're gonna. As soon as you say it, I'm gonna remember.
Evo Life.
Evo Life. There you go. See.
360.
Evo Life 360. So if you I've done a podcast with Vanessa. Do you remember what the number is?
It's 475.
475. And we're at 800. That's almost a couple.
That was a year ago.
Wow, it's a lot of time ago. But if you guys give it a chance, to give it a listen. Vanessa, thank you for coming on and sharing with us. We appreciate you. Love you. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And a bigger round of applause for Vanessa. Now, Leslie is next on the thing, but I want to save Leslie for last because we want to show what Leslie is doing with his playing, and then you can go hang with Leslie after I finish. So Leslie, just hang on, and first we're going to bring on Mr. Cake. It doesn't say Stephen at the golf course anymore. So we're going to see, where is Stephen at? It's like, instead of like, where's Waldo, where's Stephen? Uh-oh.
Where is he? Where is he?
I was telling them.
We found him.
We found him. What happened at the golf course?
I was at the golf course. I was at the golf course earlier.
Uh-huh.
But the dinosaurs were out there. They didn't like me. So I had to get off of that course there. I had a hole one, but it's like I usually hit like 2 or 3 balls a hole.
Uh-huh.
So because no one's out there, and it's a little boring to just play one ball. But I don't play. I have a voice now. I kind of mentioned that where I say, you don't like golf. You just like hitting those balls.
Maybe you should just go to the range and just drive balls at the driving range.
Well, at the range you don't have a target, so I like to have a target, and then I do I say something. I say like $1 million if I get this on the green, and what it does is I use an analogy that my mind is like the boss and my body's like the worker. Mm-hmm. You just want to give a simple direction. I'd like this I'd like it on the pin. I'd like it to go in, please. And then I just let my body do the work, because my body knows I've hit a lot of golf balls in my life, Jeff.
Well, you know how the mind jackers can take over you. Can they ever actually hit the balls for you?
They don't hit any balls, folks. That's me. I'm doing it because they wanted me to take responsibility for my actions. Because during the Enlightenment, I would say, "Where are we going?" Because not only can they can take over my voice, my body, my mind, they just everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Where are we going?" They can even prevent me from having a thought. So really? I got to see like all these different ways that a mind could work, and some of them, I had what I called a mind interface or an overlay on reality. They could make it seem like, and I wasn't in control of it. Like someone's in the room with me, or like it would be like, but it's fantasy characters or whatever they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever contact, well, I don't even know if you meditate, but if you do meditate, do you think you could communicate with the mind jackers?
Well, this is okay. So since this Enlightenment, it's hard for me to even watch. I used to watch your videos, but it's hard for me to watch a lot of videos now because this mind, it's like I'm in a constant conversation now.
Okay.
With an intelligent agent that corrects me. So if I say, I'm wasting my life, they'll say, no, you're not doing what you want to do. So they're always correcting me on that.
That's interesting.
And then sometimes we'll play like little games or something like that. The other night they went over, I call it backwards baseball, but I basically just say strategy and then golf or strategy hockey, and then I create a set of rules that make the game more interesting for me.
It looks like you're in a different room these days.
I'm in my own room.
Did you trade up rooms, or what happened? It doesn't look like
It's
your usual
still the
room.
same room here, Jeff. It's just me now.
Oh.
Well, I don't have to share a room right now, which before that was very hard on me because this place is not good. These group homes, they just cram people in. They don't care. The bathroom's not good. Like nothing is good here.
Okay, I guess it's just you're walking around and I'm seeing different parts of the room, because usually you have that usually you're in that angle, and we see that.
I put that on there so I could so people could see the balls easier. So when I juggle, it's I don't know if I can.
Have you ever considered doing another orb video?
When you say orb video, do you mean
like thousands of orbs like you did before? Do you think you can ever reproduce that?
Computer crashed, and then so I'm using a webcam. But I think I overheard you say this earlier, that you wanted an infrared camera.
Well, I have a guest that, and two guests recently, that they see orbs using an infrared camera.
That's where I was getting. That's what I came to the conclusion that I couldn't see it with my eyes, so it must have been infrared because the camera was picking up, I think, infrared.
I just thought about something. I wonder if you can, with your mobile phone, if there's an app you can buy that turns your camera into an infrared camera. Maybe somebody can search that for me and put that in the chat. I have an iPhone, and maybe that's there if you feel up to it. That might be pretty cool. That's a great idea. Someone has I'm giving away, there's your $1 million idea. If that's not there yet and you are a person that wants to create a new product and get rich, there it is for you. An app to make your mobile phone an infrared camera.
Yeah, so I tell people that part of the enlightenment is that they just made it easier for me to do things like throwing a ball. They explain it, juggling is throwing, catching, and movement. And so they made my movement, so it's like I can kind of like do bot stuff. And I just have people throw balls at me, and it's like I can just catch them.
I would like you to use the Force and do it with your eyes closed.
Liam Neeson, where's my doctor? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Someone wanted to hear Sean Connery, so we got to get out on the pub there and hit some balls with Sean Connery. He's the Highlander. That means he doesn't die.
But I want you to. That would be pretty crazy if you could.
I want to be the Highlander.
If you could be like Ben Kenobi and use the Force juggling style.
I've actually made some videos like that, yeah. And I mentioned that it's like, I think it's more like the Force. This I talk about the greater mind that we're just unaware of, but no one's in control of it either, because it's. And then I say, like, people can believe it's spirits, it's aliens, it's this and that. We see they don't let me just say anything I want either.
Bonnie is saying that you would be great in a Cirque du Soleil show.
Oh yes, I'd be very special at that. Someone wants me to get on a stage. I don't know how. Usually I say people don't like to watch juggling, so I wait till someone is sitting down, they can't move, then go up to them and say, "Hello, darling, hello, let me show you my juggling act very quickly." And then I will hit the road.
Well, Stephen, I've got to do what I've got to do, brother.
Oh, yes, we're in overtime, man. So you got to do what you got to do, man. I just want everyone to know, you're wonderful, darling.
We love you, Stephen.
Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. We love you. Have a great night, and I'll see you next week.
God bless.
God bless you. And a round of applause for Stephen. All right, and here he is, Mr. Kings. Now, Leslie comes, and I want to let you guys know that after I finish up, The paranormal party doesn't have to stop. There's 260.
You have a great night, and I'll see you next week.
Well, there's over 200. There's over 260 of you here.
Wonderful number.
And you guys can all go hang out with Leslie in his room and listen to him channel some music and still hang out in the chat. I mean, hey, you can just keep it going. Leslie, how are you? Oh, I mentioned you. I've had my guest, the one that you saw if you saw my video with Aldo Privilegi.
Yes,
he is the gentleman in Hong Kong.
I saw many times. I don't know, he has so amazing voice and expression, and I said, okay, let's go back. I said, ding. And also what he shares is very deep, so I have a lot of study about these things. So thank you for this recording. Is really very wonderful.
Right. Well, I was letting people know that after I finish, they can go to your YouTube channel. It's called Leslie Kings.
Welcome.
And they can hang out with you while you're channeling music. So are you going to channel something for us before we go here?
Yes, and I was very touched, if I can share, about Vanessa, what shared about a little bit about fear.
Vanessa that was here, Vanessa Vega?
Yes, just before,
sure.
Yeah. And he or she shared about fear, the problem of fear. And I just felt in my heart for share one of the part of the instruction book, what I called, some people call Bible, but what one of the men said, his name is John, he said, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear.
I like that.
Because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears not made perfect in love. So I felt as we connecting with the perfect love, if somebody have fear and it's a problem, I like to channeling the music. For music is not make any deliverance. Music is just a channel. But the Holy Spirit can bring in an atmosphere for somebody have some kind of fears. If you listen now, and also after your podcast, and I come to my little channel, this will be the main topic. So let's try out with love, with perfect love, the fear, if you have something. For a big fighting is always between fear and faith. So if you believe, you can now get a deliverance and a healing from fear, for any kind of fear. Just need to believe to get the perfect love. I just got to say okay, sound is good here. Start my video.
We don't see your, okay, there as I said, we don't see your hands. There you are.
Okay. Hence more important my little beautiful face, so I'm going. So, but I am here. Okay, so I start.
Right. Leslie, beautiful, great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
All right, guys, so if you want to hear Leslie, and if you want to hang out with each other and hang out with Leslie while he's chanting, go over to his channel. He'll be there, and he'll be happily playing music for you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you this wonderful time also. I really enjoyed, and hopefully today many people will be experiencing about the source, the divine for touching, and not just the moment for the music, but this is an anointing. That means is when you touched by something, it's like an electronic, it's go through you as a tick time. So it's not just the moment, but the whole day and whole, the next days is working. Just need to believe. It's working.
Leslie, thank you for that. And thank you again for playing. Have a great rest of your weekend.
For yours and all audience, and God bless you.
God bless you. And, oh, he's gone. There we go. All right, guys. Well, we did it. It was another Saturday night, and we still went overtime. We're pretty much going overtime all the time now, so I'm just starting to get used to it. So, all right, you already got a preview of tomorrow night's video. I hope you're going to love it. And I hope you guys have a great week. I hope I will see you back next week, and if you can, bring a friend. And that's it. So have a great rest of your weekend. We love you. God bless you, and good night.